My name's Pete Woods, you're watching Hexham TV. Who are you?
I'm Nick Morphet. I'm a resident. I live in Hexham, and I'm concerned about climate change and the biodiversity crisis, and now also the health crisis that we're facing. So a group of us have decided to have a family bike ride on Saturday, July the 11th, in order to raise awareness and protest, to raise awareness of the lack of cycling infrastructure and the urgent need for it, and to protest that the town council and the county council aren't doing enough fast enough. We need to see more action.
So I know from going to sort of previous town council meetings that there are plans afoot for increasing cycling, particularly between Hexham and Corbridge. What do you have to say about that?
We're hearing the right noises from the town council and the county council. It's great to hear about the Hexham East to Corbridge corridor cycle path, and they are talking about some changes to the roads in Hexham to benefit active travel. That's all great, but they're not doing enough, and they're not doing it fast enough. Given that the Department for Transport has made it very clear to local authorities that there's an urgent need to reallocate road space to cyclists and pedestrians, given that the COVID-19 pandemic, although it's awful, it is a golden opportunity to make these changes and to make them urgently. Given that the government has actually given this region, the North East, £2.6 million in order to make these urgent changes, we think we should be seeing more in the way of changes on the ground from our town and county council.
And Nick, you say the bike ride is next Saturday, the 11th, starts at 11 o'clock from the old bus station here in Hexham?
Exactly, yeah.
And is there any age limits or?
None at all. So we're really selling it, if you like, as a family bike ride. The more the merrier, young and old, and it's going to be an easy pace. We're going to go down to Corbridge on the A695, which is where we're hoping to raise awareness of the need for a cycle path, to avoid cyclists needing to use the main road, and then we'll stop at the green at Corbridge for a bit of lunch, and then we'll head back on the minor road on the other side of the river, the north side, which will be a bit quieter and a bit more pleasant, I think.
And that'll all be appropriately social distanced.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so we're going to be 2 meters apart, either one behind each other, or preferably side by side, because it's actually a lot safer. If we form a really long chain, it's going to be difficult for cars to get past safely, although they might be tempted to try. If we're in a grid, either 2 wide or maybe 3, then it's actually going to be much safer for us, and maybe also make our point better as well.
And obviously, in terms of young children taking part, it's important that they're looked after appropriately, because both roads are quite busy at the moment as life starts to go back to a new normal, perhaps.
Yeah.
And parents should be aware of any children taking part, that they're both capable of cycling and can cycle safely.
Yeah. Well, we'll have stewards at the back and the front. We're hoping there'll be enough of us that we're very visible to cars. And we've also invited the police to steward the event as well. So we're hoping they'll come along and help us to make it really safe.
And why is it important to have more cycle routes in places like Hexham?
Well, it's been critical to have more cycle routes for years. I'm really thinking about fighting climate change and fighting air pollution, but it's become even more important now because of the coronavirus pandemic. We can't all jump on the bus or the train. Public transport has been a brilliant solution, and it will be again. But right now it's not, because we can't all jump on the bus or the train for various reasons. We can't go back to business as usual by all jumping in our cars. That's going to be not only terrible for the climate and for air pollution, but it's also going to cause really bad congestion. If we're going to get back to work, if we're all going to get back to full mobility, we've got to be a bit cleverer than that, and we've got to look for alternative means. And the obvious answer is active travel, by which I mean cycling and walking. 40% of urban journeys are less than 2 miles and are ideally suited to walking and cycling. We know it's necessary. The government have made it so clear what needs to be done. They're trying their best to help us do it. All we've got to do is do it. I've got a few quotes that might be worth reading to you. One of them is just a quote from Northumberland County Council. It's taken from their Our Way vision for active travel. It says the council will use proven motivators to achieve long-term behavioural change. I mean, that's great. Some people do need motivating, and it's an important part of the whole package. But I don't need motivating. I just need cycle paths. So motivation, great, but please give us cycle paths. And in the short term, because we appreciate that cycle paths take a bit of building, in the short term, reallocate road space. So that means cones or wands which segregate cyclists from cars, from motor vehicles. It means road closures where they're suitable. And in certain places, it means reducing roads to one lane of traffic and using traffic lights to control the traffic so it can still travel in both ways, taking its turn to, whilst cyclists and pedestrians have the other half of the road. There's loads of things they can do. We just need to see them do it.
And then just in the interest of transparency, Nick, it's important to say that you were the Green Party candidate in the last general election, and presumably that's why these things are very close to your heart.
Yeah, well, I'm just green to the core, really. I'm trying my best. I'm trying to do the best thing I can personally, but there's obviously more to it. We need the government to help us. So I'm also trying to put pressure on local and national government to help us make the changes we want to make. It's all very much in line with Green Party ideas. I also represent Extinction Rebellion as well. I think they've done some great work raising awareness. So I'm not representing any one organisation today. Think of me as a concerned resident.
Nick Morphet, thanks very much for talking to Hexham TV.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.